here we are in Lucan Community College, and Fiona's very kindly agreed to give us some time and take some time out of your busy day. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Beautiful college, beautiful community.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. We've a huge community here. We're over 900 now and growing, and we're waiting for an extension. So have a nice new big PE hall when that's built.
I'd say can't wait.
Yeah, no, it'll be great.
But looking at all the kids, and they're all so enthusiastic about it, because you often hear so much about how they have to be nearly in the old days beaten into PE class, but they seem to be having great fun.
Yeah, no, we've a good enough policy here, you know, really supported by management with the PE policy that everyone participates. You know, and I suppose we vary it up in the sense of today we're doing gymnastics, but throughout the year we try everything. So it gives everyone an opportunity to do something that they mightn't have tried before, or that they mightn't have felt that they were good at before. So it's good in that sense.
Can I just say to you, on your own career, apart from teaching, there are a very select, or almost a very elite few who can say they captained an Ireland senior team to a Six Nations Championship. I mean, that's exactly what you did. What was that like?
Yeah, look, it was brilliant. I suppose I'd been involved in the game at international level for, what was it, 10 years, and there were some really dark days at the start, some good hidings that we got, and just to see the progression of the game in those years, I really thought I'd retire not seeing any silverware, and I would have been happy with the journey and I suppose the experience that I had, but to be able to lift that in 2013 with a core group of players that I'd started with and come through with, and management as well, was just unbelievable, and it was great for the game, you know, that exposure. And
wasn't that the one that connected with the public? You know, ordinarily it'd be inside back page, but this is the one that made front page and back page headlines. Yeah,
and I suppose you need that success for people to stand up and take notice of you, and we felt that, like, because at the start of that championship there wasn't much about us. People didn't know we beat Wales and things like that, but then we beat England 25-0, and you know, that wakens everyone up when you beat England, the old enemy. And then to go on and beat France, and we knew we had the championship won, but we still had to go to Italy to win the Grand Slam, and such a horrible day in Italy. And I think it wasn't the greatest game of rugby, but it was a really compelling, gripping game that kept people, and then you get silverware at the end of it. They're delighted. And
how frustrating is it? Because we all read about the trip through Barcelona, all around the islands, and you know, I think it was almost 19 hours on a bus or something like that. And you sort of say, well, hang on, we're giving our time, we're representing our country, and this is how they treat us. But it's moved on a lot since then. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, it definitely has. I suppose that was kind of a turning point. It was a galvanising moment for us as a team, that we said, right, that didn't affect our performance. I think the way that we handled that whole situation was really good. As a result of it, the IRFU put in procedures that you had to be in your accommodation a certain number of hours before the game, so it wouldn't happen again. So a positive has come from it. But yeah, it was the night before a game, and arriving in at 7 o'clock before a game wasn't ideal. But I don't think that really affected our performance. We actually played quite well that day and lost by a point. But it was a kind of pivotal moment as well.
Exactly. How far has the sport come on then since you got involved, and say up until today? And okay, last year there was the hoo-ha about a part-time coach being appointed, and at least the IRFU sort of put their hand up and said, right, we'll look into it, we'll change it.
Yeah, look, I didn't even know women's rugby existed when I was younger. I hadn't seen it, I didn't know anything about it. I was in Clontarf Rugby Club my whole life. You know.
That from your dad? Was your dad who steered you that?
Yeah, my brother, we would go down and watch my brother play. It's a good community club. There would have been like 3 international nights on for the Six Nations and things like that. But I went to college in Limerick, and I just wanted a new sport. And you know, even at the start, I was like, God, a lot of standing around because it's so technical. But once I played my first game, loved it. And even then, there wasn't many teams around. They were all adult teams, so people are coming into the game at a later age, and development is a little bit slower. But now we see girls, minis. I'm back in Clontarf Rugby Club now on a Sunday morning. There's like 40 minis between the ages of 6 and 12, and then we've 12 to 18-year-olds as well. So they're getting more experience at a younger age, and hopefully that'll just bode well for the national team going forward as well. With
success comes people knocking on the door, commercialisation, and I mean, I imagine it's very welcome in that there's not a lot of money in a lot of women's sports. So if somebody's prepared to endorse or allow you to endorse and give you a few bob for it, it's very welcome.
Oh, definitely. I think we've seen it rise in the last number of years. I think hosting the Women's Rugby World Cup has been absolutely brilliant, and sponsors engaging, and I think sponsors are seeing the value in it. Like, you know, since I've retired, I'm involved with Dacia and Liberty, like two really.
So you've been ambassador for these two major companies.
Yeah, and it's not about just having that link. It's a connection, and it's buy-in from them, and there's kind of a synergy in kind of your beliefs and what you stand for, and I think that works really well. And I think sponsors are realising they'll actually get an awful lot back from being engaged in women's sport, and well, I hope they do.
Well, they wouldn't renew if they weren't.
And it's not about the money thing. It's about that extra exposure that you get from being linked with a sponsor like that, or it's about just their support as well. And I always said it's great to be part of the journey, not just part of the result, which sponsors coming late to the game will be, but if they're in at the early stages, they get to be part of the journey, and it's brilliant.
So who then would have been possibly your rugby heroes when you were starting to play, or when you were going down to watch it? Obviously Brian O'Driscoll is from that club originally as well. Like.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't really have, like, I remember watching Six Nations in the mid-90s, and I didn't really know much was going on, but I remember Simon Gagan and his blonde hair flying down the wing. And it's funny, I also remember Nick Popplewell, and I just ultimately turned out to be a prop, but I didn't really know what he did, and because there was no role models women ones, when Brian started playing, and obviously in 2000 when he scored the 3 tries against France, you know, the whole community was, you know, you have that connection, you have the link, you know, you might know him that well, but there is a link there, so you're all buying into his success as well. So obviously looked up to him, and then I actually watched my first women's international in Clontarf Rugby Club as well.
And who jumped out there?
You know, it was my teammates in my club. It was like Sarah Jane Belton and Patrick Kelly and players like that. So I was there watching them representing Ireland in my kind of home turf, and I was like, God, I want to be part of that.
Not only were you part of it, you were a huge part of it. I mean, that victory over New Zealand was another. The silver ferns. What do you want to do in terms of, you have a career in teaching, would you like to go into rugby coaching full time? Would you like to go into the admin side of things?
Yeah, I'm kind of up in the air about where I'm at the moment. I suppose with the coaching, it's a huge commitment again, and I suppose that was one of the reasons I stepped away, but then I feel like I need to give back to it. I think I was at a coaching course recently enough, and you know, they're focusing on getting women involved in coaching. It's a great initiative by Leinster Rugby, so hopefully we will have more women coaches coming through, that it is maybe a viable option as a career later down the road. We're not there yet. The men's side of it, obviously the governance side of sport in general needs more women involved at decision-making level. So that's kind of another area as well that I'd be interested in going into. It's just, again, that time commitment, and that's one of the reasons I stepped back from playing. So it's when I go back into it, and I definitely will, it's just when I go back into it to be able to commit fully to it. All
right, well look, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you today, and onwards and upwards, and good luck, and I hope you enjoy this year's Six Nations as much as the rest of our going to, hopefully. Fiona, thank you very much.
Thanks a million.